This afternoon with Rod Spaulding, who's been with the Ascutney Volunteer Fire Department Association for almost 60 years, and he was one of the first responders on the scene of the Romaine Tenney homestead fire.
That's right.
So Rod, why don't you tell me, what you remember of that night and how it all started?
I heard that fire alarm going off at somewhere 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't remember exactly. And I come out the door, and all we could, the whole sky and up here was just one big red fireball. So I got to the station, and at the time, the chief at the time, Red Weathersfield, met me at the door. We were both going in at the same time. We grabbed a truck and came up this way, and there's nothing we could do. The house was completely, the whole barn and everything, all the barns and everything were on fire. And since we only had 150 gallons of water, there was nothing we could do with it. But then Chief and I, Chief Butterfield and myself, we got to force the door, the main door of the house, and we got into a small hallway, and we tried to get what we thought was a bedroom or going down cellar. We weren't sure, and everything was nailed shut. We could not force the doors; they locked and nailed shut.
Huh.
So we knew that
something
we had to get out of there because we had no breathing apparatus.
Right.
And it's
not a good situation.
That part of the house was filling with smoke. So then we just did the best we could, got some water on the fire and made sure it didn't spread anymore. We did find a pile of his old wagons and implements a ways away from the fire burning. Those were gone. And then it was just kind of wait until we got the fire marshal there the next day. And the next day was Sunday. Next day was Saturday. The ruins were too hot to do anything. Sunday morning, State Police Sergeant Joe Chaffee, who was the fire investigator, came. And Red and myself and a couple others took turns. We spent almost all day down in the cellar hole moving hot bricks and cleaning and taking care of things. We found an old metal bed with a rifle that had been fired, and we found some bones.
Huh.
And that was all we could do.
Yeah. I read one of the paper accounts said that there was also a 32 caliber pistol too. Did you guys find that, or was that found later? Okay.
I think that was found later. I'd kind of forgotten about that.
Okay, because I think what the paper said was it was an 1892 32 caliber rifle,
that was the rifle. 1892, either Winchester or Marlin. I don't remember, but I believe it was a Winchester.
And when you responded, were you helping? I heard that there were calves running around and dogs and a kitten.
The dog was running around, and at that time we kind of concentrated to see what we could do around the house. But yes, there was some calves running loose. I don't remember cats, but his dog was running around. We got him back away from the fire.
Yeah.
And the fire was so hot that Chief Buchanan came down from Windsor with his the chief's car, and it was sitting out in the road, and it melted the bubble light on the top of his car.
And I heard too that over the entire scene they had poured like over 3,000 gallons of water or something, and it still was like blazing hot.
Right.
Even on Sunday it was still smoldering.
Still smoldering, and we put a lot of water into the cellar hole on Saturday until we could get down in there and work on it Sunday. That was a long day.
Yeah, that sounds.
It was a hot, sunny day, even for September, but that's what we found.
So now we're at the park and ride at Exit 8. Do you remember sort of the layout that was here, or like where things are located?
We'd have to go out towards the tree.
Okay.
And I think we can walk out there a ways.
Okay. Yeah, I had heard something that they left 2 maples.
2 maples. That's one of them.
That's one of the maples. Okay.
Coming down now to Old 131, roughly here. This is the roadbed for Old 131.
Oh, geez. Okay.
So actually, it would have come just by the corner of the station. And
yep.
I can't say this is the middle, but this should be about the middle of the road.
Okay.
and come around here, the road took a sharp corner out about where the northbound lane is.
Okay.
And his house would have been approximately under right where the bridge is on the northbound lane.
Okay. And then I had heard
His
that
barn
was
on the corner of that slope.
Yep.
As you go down there, right, also just about where the northbound lane is. It almost was in line with the house, but of course the road turned like that. A real sharp turn.
When they were doing the blasting, could you hear it or feel it over on Thrasher Road? Because I had read a couple accounts that he could feel it, and china was falling off, dishes were rattles.
Yeah, I probably because they were blasting right behind his house.
Right.
And doing some drilling in there, and that'll. When you're drilling, that also creates
the tremors.
the tremor in the ground.
And when you came onto the scene, did you see a lot of that? Were the excavators already up here for?
Yeah, they were parked beside the barn, and there was a road down to the. There was a ramp down to the brook that the contractors were using, so we were able to get some water down there and get it up here to the fire.
Huh.
Mainly what we did was just wet down the ruins, which is sad to say.
Right.
That's the way it was.
That's tough job.
Yeah, it was tough. I knew Romaine not well, but I used to work at Joy in Claremont, and lots of times he'd be walking home with groceries or a can of kerosene, and I'd pick him up, bring him home, and he always talked much. He didn't talk much, but he always had something to say about the world situation, this and that, and he was really a nice guy, just wanted to be left alone.
And that's what I heard, and that's actually what got me interested in this whole project. You had spoken at one of our summer evenings, and it got me really excited about who was this man, because I was just a little kid and I was living down country.
Sure.
And it sounds like he was a person that would have been really interesting to know.
Oh, he was interesting, very interesting man. I understand. I don't know anybody, I can't think of anybody other than maybe his family that ever went in the house. Maybe Rolly can, but I'm not sure.
I saw that account too, that people would come by to take pictures of it because it was such a unique, picturesque house. But one of the quotes that I read said that people were kind of upset that they had never been in the interior to see, especially in its heyday, when the family was growing up. It looked like almost like a mansion, the way that it was set up, and the beautiful diamond windows.
And those were all leaded glass.
Yeah, the leaded glass, yep.
I understand, and again, he had all his mother's dresses still in the house.
Oh, jeez.
So it was, that's, some people have told me that, and I can't remember, somebody who knew Romaine real well, that was one of the things he did. And apparently, if you went by here at night, they had lanterns, no electricity in the house. The light was always in the L that ran this way to the road.
Huh.
So,
very interesting.
he was quite a guy. He was very interesting. The only time I ever talked to him basically was when I picked him up and give him a ride home.
And that was one of the things that actually Lorraine Ziegman had said it to me. She said that he was always seen walking, never really asking for a ride, but everybody would pick him up because that's just the way he got around. Yep. So I heard that the original call went out from Mr. Howard Fitch.
I believe Howard had been on a field trip. He used to be a field man for J&L Machinery, and I think he had come home and saw the glow in the sky, so he stopped and turned the alarm on.
And was the station, the old station, down on Route 5?
Down on Route 5 where John Arison has his...
Yep, where What's Up is. And did the call go into the station or did it go directly to Mr. Butterfield's house?
went to Mr. Butterfield's house at the time.
Okay.
And I think they probably simultaneously.
And do you remember how many firefighters were volunteers at that time, besides you and Red?
Oh, probably 20, more or less, 15 to 20 people.
And back before the day of cell phones, texts, timeout toners and everything, do you remember how the call went out to Windsor to come, or was there still a decent...
That I don't remember. I remember all of a sudden once that Chief Buchanan's car with a red light was out in the road, and somebody must have called him. I don't know.
Okay.
That was beyond me.
And do you remember, like, approximately, I know the landscape's changed, but do you remember, like, where his car was in relation to where we're standing now?
Oh, okay.
So, like, where's the dooryard?
It would somewhere, his car would have been parked somewhere in line with the northbound overpass,
Okay.
probably 50 feet from it.
Okay. And we were talking earlier, across the street, was that the horse barn or the cow barn? Do you remember?
The cow barn was right straight out here,
Okay.
right where the
curve.
131 made a curve.
Yep. So tell me about the road goes this way and it goes down, and there used to be a field down there.
Right, the field was Mr. Tenney's field. I used to see him down there in the summer cutting hay with his horses and his mowing machine. And right where the gas station and the northbound on-ramp are, that used to be a field, and he'd mow that every summer for hay.
And then you said over here was what you used to call...
I called it his night pasture, where he put his cows in out at night to let them graze.
And the part that I have a hard time with is, to me, when you go through the underpass, it just looks like it's all like granite or rock or something.
See, his house actually backed up to that ridge of rock.
Okay, so that the main house was at that. It didn't, because I'm like...
It backed up to that rock, pile of rock.
Got it.
There wasn't a lot of room in behind the house to that bulge of rock. And the only other thing I can think of, at one time, my wife's family lived right across from what is now the Sitco station. And of course, they used to see Romain a lot. When they were kids growing up, he was out there working and doing things.
I've heard too that kids that were growing up in town used to call him Redbeard.
Redbeard and Whiskers.
Whiskers, that's good too.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that we can get Chip and Mike to talk about that, because I guess they were a little bit younger. Or they used to like hang out or try to get into the house and.
Okay, they could be, but it was it was kind of a sad thing to have it was a plain sad thing to have happen, but. Progress most times is good, but sometimes it hurts a lot of people.
And I think he also went out on his own terms.
He did.
You know, and I think that's another thing to be, have some pride in it. He loved this land so much that, he didn't want to go someplace else.
Right.
He grew up here. He was born here. I read that he spent his entire life here except for 8 months when he was in the World War II serving.
Yeah.
So.
Right. I guess you could go along with that song, I Did It My Way.
Yeah, he did. He truly did.
So I don't know anything else I can tell you. I'm not sure now. I think I've...